The accomplishments of our goals pale in comparison to the person that we become while trying to achieve them. The fact that I grew up with low self-esteem already, and then all the anger and alcohol around me, led me to the streets. And when I went out there, I ran into these dudes who seemed to have the things that I didn't have. They seemed to know exactly who they were. They seemed to know exactly what they were trying to do. They seemed to have respect and acceptance from all their peers. I was immediately drawn to that. Gangs are very open, welcoming things in reality to people who are willing to become a part of what they're about. And I remember right before, I caught this case, I was telling my friends, man, I'm gonna pop one of these dudes, man. I'm gonna get one of these dudes. So it was in my mind. I actively was wanting to do that. I felt like maybe if I did, I would finally cross some threshold. People who had bodies on them, that was kind of like the ultimate gangster right there. And you kind of always aspired to get to that level. I was a kid trying to handle all these things on my own, and long story short, I wound up in prison, for 22 years over not dealing with those emotions and that hurt and that pain that's going on inside of me at that age. At 18, I showed up in Lansing, and day one, man, somebody rolls up on me and asks me, hey, you know where the Mexicans sit? I'm like, no. So he tells me, and they run it down to me. That's how we roll. It's the same old story. I mean, I'm a gang member. There's gang members in there. Dudes I already know are in there. And so I just jump right into that lifestyle. It's almost like I just blank out what I did and what I just went through. This whole trial, this whole emotional situation, me praying to God, and I just moved forward. And I just wanted to become a soldier, man. I started working out all the time. I started talking intentionally, walking intentionally, reading the right kind of books, meeting the right kind of people. I was just building this whole life around being like this ultimate gangster in my mind. That's all I wanted to do was be focused and disciplined. I didn't want no emotions. I didn't need no weakness. If I didn't know you, stay the hell away from me. Every time I would get close to getting emotional for any reason, I would just fight it back. And I remember a couple times, man, it got so close, the man I would haul off and punch myself in the face, like just punch myself. I would not do it. And I was really me. I'm telling you, I didn't cry for like 7 years. I refused. It took me a long time to really even come to grips with what I did. And it didn't happen until I lost my mom. In 2009, I was in Hutch, and I remember thinking, what? Like, my mom's been diagnosed with cancer? And so I'm calling my mom every day, and I'm talking to her an hour a day, maybe 2 hours. And I remember thinking, like, what can I do to help my mom? And I remember finding these book of questions I had. It's all these questions, man. What are your favorite colors, favorite foods? Into these more deep, questions about the universe and God and hopes and dreams and all these things. And I remember asking her one day, Mom, what are your hopes and your dreams? And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, I don't know, like anything. What are your hopes and your dreams? She's like, well, I just hope that, my kids and my grandkids are happy and have good lives, and I hope I get to see them grow up, and that's it. And I said, I know that, but like, if you had like this big dream for yourself, if you could have anything, like a wish, what would it be? She said, well, if I could have anything, it would be for my only son to come home one day. And man, that was a difficult thing for me to deal with, man, because I felt like she's wasting her dream on me. Because if I was going to be honest with myself, man, I was a gang member, drug addict, man. I'm in the hole. I can't even be in population in prison. All these things. And it hit me that, man, my mom deserved. She deserved a better son than me. And I tell her, Mom, I want to promise you right now that I'm going to put 100% towards making that dream happen. I'm going to try to get out. And she didn't say anything, but she heard me. I knew she heard me because we were just having that little exchange. And I meant it, man. I meant it. It probably, I don't know, within a week, my mom passed away. She passed away on Thanksgiving morning, 2010. But ever since then, man, I woke up and I was focused. I was determined. I'm in the hole. I'm still in long-term segregation. At that point, I had been in there a little over a year. And I don't know what to do, though. Like, how am I going to get out of prison? I don't know what the heck to do here. So I start hollering out my cell. Like, the mental health lady, I seen her. She comes make rounds. She's walking across the cell house. And I'm yelling, "Miss Hoffman!" She's talking to me in this crack in this door. And she says, "What do you need?" I said, "Man, I need something. I'm trying to change my life." She's like, "There's this new group they're starting, reaching out from within. They never had it here. They're only going to take, I think, 13 people. So you need to put your Form 9 in quick and, write something on there that stands out so that they pick you." And so I write it. I probably wrote. It's at your lowest points that you see things the clearest. Because all the other superficial things, all the other artificial things, all the things that you might have been thinking was important, that you might have been focusing on, are stripped away and you don't have them anymore. But the wisdom, and this is what I pray for all the time, that God gives me the wisdom to hang on to those things that I saw when I was at the bottom, when you're closer to the top and you have all this stuff trying to distract you. I regret my crime, I regret my behaviors, I regret those things, but I don't want to forget them because they will keep me humble moving forward. All these leadership skills that I have been building up my whole life, from the time I joined the gang when I was 14 to the time I decided to make a change in my life when I was almost 30. And at that point, I was one of the most influential gang members in the Kansas Department of Corrections. I realized I could use those skills, man, in a new life. Like, those things could come into play, in a different way. And my whole life wasn't for nothing. Like, all these things that I've been through wasn't for nothing. Like, all these experiences weren't for nothing. I didn't have to just abandon everything I ever was and be somebody totally different. I could just change my focus. Don't ask for fewer problems, ask for broader shoulders. And that was a quote that I liked a lot and that I built kind of like my idea of myself upon. Because I think if it touches you, then that means that that's in you somewhere already. Something that you're striving to be, or something that you want to make manifest in your life. So what do you think about this one? Old things pass away and all things become new. Does this ring true? Has anybody got any thoughts on that? What Reaching Out From Within does is it has developed a culture of positivity, not just positivity, but proactivity, of taking ownership of your life and what it looks like. This unique environment where dudes feel comfortable being themselves because it's no staff involved. So there's not a guard there, there's not a staff member there, there's volunteers that are part of Reaching Out From Within, and there's prisoners, and that's it. If you're there, it's because either you're curious, somebody invited you, or you're really trying to seek something better for yourself, which was what I was trying to do. And when you start unloading all that baggage, man, that's been on you for your whole life, people are starting to see you as a different person. And if you understand who you are, then you understand why you are the way you are. And if you can understand why you are the way you are, then you can change the way you are. One of the things that's sorely lacking in prison is the opportunity to have something different. And really, I think that's because it's such an old institution. Prison's founded on these archaic ideas of what punishment is and who these people who go to prison are and how we feel about them. The culture hasn't changed enough. It's such an oppressive place, man. It's such an ugly place. Like, everything's metal, everything's concrete, everything's old, and everything's dirty, and everybody's yelling and screaming, and it's still about punishment. You're a criminal. So what if you don't have no hot water? So what if your toilet won't flush? So what if your clothes got holes in them? So all these little things that when you try to address in prison, it's like, oh yeah, okay. You're a prisoner, man. What do you expect? If you don't want to endure this behavior, then don't come to prison. It's a pretty rough environment to be in. And when you put somebody in that type of environment and then expect them to somehow learn different types of behaviors, to heal these deep wounds, to become a more socialized and pro-social person, it's hard to do, man. It's really hard to do, no matter what the environment is. But if the environment was a little more, nurturing, a little more peaceful, a little more understanding and empathetic, to give people an opportunity at a second chance at a different type of life, it changes you. So many times I run into people in prison and all they're thinking about is the day they get out. That's all they think about. They're just sitting around waiting for that day to get here, waiting for that day to come. And I always tell them, Man, as hard as it is to acknowledge, there's a possibility that that day might not ever get here. Keep taking advantage of your days right now. Keep taking advantage of what you have in front of you. We can get stuck in the past, but you can also get stuck in the future and not take advantage of your present. And in prison, I think that happens just as much as the other way around. People just look at this as a timeout, like I'm just gonna sit around and do nothing till they open the door. And that's the wrong way to look at this. It was very difficult saying goodbye to these people that mean a lot to me. They're the people you pray with, that you eat with, share holidays with, They're very important people to me. And so that was hard. Like, that was a difficult thing. And on the other hand, I was super excited about seeing my family and being able to be with my family again. And so it was like this weird, juxtaposition that I was like stuck in, that it seemed unreal until I think the minute I walked out of that place.
That's going to leave this balance right here.
I understand.
Going on a card for you.
It's crazy to think back that, this whole journey and this whole process and everything that's happened over the last 10 years started really with two things. One, my mom getting sick, but two, that promise I made to my mom, when I told her that I was going to do everything I could to get out of prison, because that was her dream, that's what she wanted.
Hey! Oh, shit! Oh. Oh, I love you so much. Oh. I'm so happy. Erica, my beautiful sister.
I can't even remember.
I brought mom for you too.
Oh.
Here you go. That one's yours. I've been saving it for a while.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love you too.
The whole world needs a place and a space and an opportunity to tell the truth about who they are, what they've been through, how they feel, without any expectations, judgment, or anything really, just to get it out. As human beings, man, we should be concerned about people, and we shouldn't give up on life until it's over, It's not over yet. These people, they've done what they've done, and they're in prison, and they're serving their time, but they're alive, and they're gonna come home, over 90% of them. So we should be concerned with that life while it's here, as a society and as a world. And I thank God every day that people were concerned about my life. They didn't give up on me, and they helped me, and they gave me opportunities, and they invested in me and fed into me. And I look at my life now, man, and I don't know where my future is going, but I'm excited about it.
No. Hey, but it's freedom. This is too much, man. Jeez.
That was mom's radio that used to be in her room.
That young couple.
Oh, wow, look at Pop and Mom. Oh, that's beautiful.
Awesome.
That is beautiful, my beautiful mom. Look at my mom.
Yeah.
But I would like to say one more thing. I'd just like to tell all my boys in the joint, that I love them and I miss them, and I believe in them, and I hope they're carrying on, with all the things that we talked about and keeping those dreams alive, because they're going to come true. I'm with them. I'm out here with them, and I'll never forget them, and keep doing what they're doing. It's important.